Hello my dear friends and welcome back to another video. It seems as though Disney Star Wars has a newfound obsession with yellow lightsabers. This is not necessarily a criticism, but it does need to be spoken about, and I'll let you make your own mind up. Yellow lightsabers, we saw them in the Clone Wars, but it really started with Asajj Ventress in the 2015 novel Dark Disciple. And then, after Rey got one at the end of the Rise of Skywalker, they went all out and gave one to Luke in between episode 5 and 6. And it might turn out that Grogu is going to have one as well. Although this poster is fan-made, it was commissioned by Disney, so they might run with it. Now, outside of canon, you might be familiar with yellow lightsabers if you ever played KOTOR. So we have to ask the question, why is this lightsaber colour so popular right now with Disney Star Wars? Let's begin by looking at the history of the yellow lightsaber in Star Wars, and then I'm going to give you the actual reason why Disney is so invested in this colour. So without much further ado, and without any more jibber jabber, let's dive straight into it. Anyone even remotely familiar with Star Wars knows that lightsabers come in a variety of colours. For the most part, the Jedi wielded sabers that were blue or green, but in the Skywalker saga we've also seen Mace Windu don a purple one. The reason that blue and green were the most popular colours for the Jedi was because they represented the two biggest schools of thought within the Jedi Order. Green was most commonly chosen by the consulars, who focused on their mental knowledge of the Force, whereas blue was most often seen in the hands of the Guardians, who focused on learning combat and becoming warriors. Force users who aligned themselves with the dark side, most notably the Sith, possessed red lightsabers in combat, and there is a reason their lightsabers became red in the first place. In the construction of a Sith lightsaber, dark side users often partook in a process which is known as bleeding. By ways of the Force, they would bleed their lightsabers, which basically means they pour negative emotions like rage, hate, fear and pain into kyber crystals, and this process would result in the crystals gaining a distinctive crimson or red hue. As for the purple lightsabers, Mace Windu's blade was only introduced to the franchise because Samuel L. Jackson, who obviously plays Mace Windu, put a personal request to George Lucas. But as with anything in Star Wars, there is also an in-universe reason why Mace Windu's lightsaber is purple. The purple colour was one of the rarest, indicating that the Force user had studied several forms of lightsaber combat, including delving into the dark side techniques of the Sith, and Mace was one of these. Apart from these more standard colours, you also had white, black, orange, pink and yellow lightsabers, and we're now going to be talking about the latter. Just like the blue and green lightsabers, the yellow lightsaber was associated with an important school of thought within the Jedi Order, that of the Sentinels. Star Wars lore explains that Sentinels seek a balance between the consulars and the Guardians, and also wish to educate themselves on other more practical aspects of life, like trekking techniques and espionage. Yellow lightsabers were linked directly to the idea of balance, and unlike some in the Jedi Order, the Sentinels recognize that the Force is not the solution to everything. And as you can see, the Sentinel mindset, the Sentinel school of thought, would oppose that of someone like Yoda. The yellow lightsaber is most commonly seen in the pikes of the Jedi Temple Guards that we saw in the Clone Wars. The Temple Guards wielded double-bladed yellow sabers, but these did not personally belong to them. They were the property of the position they held. Each lightsaber was assigned to the guards in order to help them maintain the anonymity of their rank. Additionally, there are other past sightings of yellow lightsabers. As I mentioned at the start, Asajj Ventress had one, and it's believed that she found hers in the black market. Ventress's blade was identical to those of other Jedi, rather than the more blade-like appearance of the pikes wielded by the Jedi Temple Guards. Another Star Wars character who almost wielded a yellow lightsaber was Ahsoka Tano. In the early process of concept art, George Lucas was going to give her a yellow lightsaber, but he later changed his mind and gave her a green one. But I must separate all of this yellow lightsaber history from the more recent times that we've seen them, because Rey was not given a yellow lightsaber for any of the reasons that I mentioned. It was not a question of balance in the Force or anything just as meaningful. The reason is because the visual effects team thought it looked cool, and yes, I'm being dead serious. In case you don't believe me, here's the actual quote provided by the visual effects team on episode 9. A fair number of colours have been used in lightsabers, so there was a design challenge there in terms of what colour it should be. There was an optimistic kind of quality to that, but we also wanted Rey to have a very unique colour. That specific colour, yellow, if you go too pale, this is getting really in the weeds here, if you go too pale and you make it too light, it's going to look white a lot of times, Colors on film sometimes they bleed away, depending on the exposure and quality of the light in the scene, making it that more golden yellow gives you that optimistic feeling, and it also allows you to make it super saturated and still feel like it's in the Star Wars universe. So there you go guys, it was much more of a visually impressive thing than a meaningful in-universe reason. It was to make you feel a sense of optimism, which don't get me wrong, I completely understand. Now to be fair to them, visually elements of movies do have to impress, and it is difficult to get it just right, but it really bums me out that they didn't use any sort of Star Wars lore when considering which colour Rey's lightsaber was going to be. So after Rey got one, we saw Luke Skywalker get one in issue 6 of the Star Wars Marvel comics last year. At least this one was directly connected to the Jedi Temple Guards, and Charles Soule very clearly understood the lore behind it. So going forward, what about Grogu? We don't know if this fan-commissioned poster means anything, but if it does, we might see Grogu wielding a yellow blade in Season 3 of Mando. I suppose the main question is it going to be because it looks cool and makes you feel optimistic, or is it because his Jedi path is loaded with a sense of balance and introspection? Well, if Rey's lightsaber is anything to go by, it might be the former, but I don't think Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau would let a surface-level understanding of lightsabers seep into The Mandalorian. They are in many ways way above that. I'm sure they're going to take way more care when determining the colour of Grogu's blade, and with a bit of luck, if it is going to be yellow, it's because it was a well thought out decision. Now personally, I have no issues with the colour. In fact, I actually like yellow lightsabers, but it is quite remarkable how quickly Disney have latched onto the idea and sprinkled it into so many stories. And I will admit that I think it's awesome that after Bespin, Luke adopted temporarily a yellow blade, but mainly because the story actually makes sense. Now you might be wondering why I chose to make this video now and not when the Grogu poster came out. I'm doing it now because yesterday Hasbro unveiled a new Black Series Rey lightsaber, and I guess all of these thoughts that I already had came rushing back, so here we are and I made a video about it. I must admit the lightsaber does look very detailed and I'm sure it's a wonderful replica. But that, my dear friends, is everything for today's video. What did you make of everything we spoke about? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this one, please be sure to show your girl some love by giving her a big fat thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you're brand new, and a huge welcome if you are. And if you enjoy what I do here on the channel, whether it's news updates, speculation, theories, or videos like this one, then why not consider becoming a patron? You get videos that are not found here on YouTube, and you also help to support what I do here every day. But otherwise, my dear Megalorians, thank you all for the amazing support. We are on the road for 100k. I'm Megan, also known as Star Wars Meg, and I will see you in the next one. May the Force be with you, no matter where you dwell in the galaxy. Have a good one.